update. I know where Latvia is. Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Monique Lynch and I am Leone Travels. This is my page where I talk about all things travel, more specifically my experiences as well as things I want to do. I'm hoping to do more conversations with people who have traveled and stuff like that, or even just talking to people that I know in other countries and having conversations with them about their experience traveling. This video is a second video, so this is part 2 to my experience going to Sierra Leone. If you haven't watched the first video, go watch part 1. Pretty much, I didn't just go to Sierra Leone. I went to London, I went to Spain. I did those videos while I was in those places. This is a recap of what happened once I made it to Sierra Leone, while I was there, and what happened on my way out. Part 1 is basically about me leaving Spain and getting to Sierra Leone. Please go watch that video, otherwise this one's not gonna make sense, especially what I just said about Latvia. So I made it to Sierra Leone. I got off the ferry. My friend Sia, she wasn't there. I was a little concerned, and then her dad called and everything was fine. She came up to me walking from the car. We gave each other a huge hug because, again, we hadn't seen each other in years. This was my dog. Like, I have talked about Sia as being like my day one A1, like for real. And it was like a play on words because our area when we were resident assistants was called A1. But also, if you're black, you know day one A1. Like, she's my A1 from day one. It was amazing seeing her again. Her mom was there. I gave her a huge hug because I'd never met her mom before. We got in the car and immediately just like started talking. I was really tired because, you know, I had traveled from Spain and it was 4:30 in the morning when I landed in Sierra Leone. At this point, it's like 6:30. And I hadn't seen her in a really long time, so I'm telling her everything. We're just talking about everything. She's telling me about all the stuff we're going to do, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I know her mama was like, okay, y'all are really friends because it's like no time has passed. I didn't really have any expectations about Sierra Leone. 4 people asked me, like, so what's it like your expectations? I'm like, no, I don't really have any because I didn't have anything to compare it to. When I went to Spain, because I studied abroad, I went to Spain, right? Then after that, my first trip out was to London. I saw Chance the Rapper in London. Literally within like a month of being in Spain. I was like, well, I've never been to London before, so I wonder if it's like Spain. It was not. Something to compare it to. The only place in the continent of Africa I had been to was Morocco, and I was like, this can't be like that. I just was like, I refuse. For me, this trip was about experiencing things as they come, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. So we got to the house. Sia's parents have a compound, so there's like 3 buildings. Her parents, her brother, and someone else lives in one home. Sia, her partner, her child, her younger sister, and her cousin all live in the other home. There's a 3rd building where her mom keeps her equipment for her job because she runs a store. Think like Ace Hardware, but like for furniture and like appliances. She keeps all of her items in the 3rd home. So anyway, I get there and I'm like, wow, you got a lot of space, girl. Like, what's going on here? As I get out the car, Nancy immediately jumps in for a hug. I was like, oh, wow. These people are really friendly. And then I met someone else, Blessing. She was very shy, so she didn't really hug me, but she like, you know, she just came and spoke to me. I was like, oh, thank you so much. You know, everybody's like, welcome, welcome. Everybody's excited. It's early, but I'm running on adrenaline because I'm excited. It's the first time I've ever been here, that kind of thing. We get to in the door in the house. I get our luggage. First person in the door is Moses, her husband. And I was like, I know you because I had seen pictures of Moses before. I watched their wedding. When they got married, it was still during COVID, and so we had to watch it on Facebook Live. I'm like, oh, I remember you. You don't know me, but I know you. But he knew me because, see, of course, he had talked about me all the time. And so it was really nice to meet him for the first time. And then he had baby Lizzie in his arms, and baby Lizzie is Sia's daughter. She's like, I don't know you. Like, my parents know you, but I don't know you. It doesn't bother me when kids do that because, they don't know you. Their entire lives, which has been really short, they've spent with the same amount of people. So when someone else walks in and you know, everybody else seems to know them, but you don't know them, it's like, I don't know you like that. So, you know, she was kind of like, you know, standing back a little bit. But I came in the house, everybody had just woken up. And then I learned that they thought my flight got in at 2. So they went to the ferry station. They sent someone to the airport. And I was like, nah, my plane got in at 4. And then there was some miscommunication about the time, like what time it was in Sierra Leone versus Morocco. Because on my ticket, Sia said her dad told her that that ticket would have said the time in Moroccan time, which is 2 hours behind Sierra Leone. So, or 2 hours ahead. I don't know. 2 hour difference. For me, I was like, that's not how I've ever done it. And different parts of the world may be different. Their systems may be different. But as far as I'd ever known, the time on your ticket from when your flight leaves is the time zone that you were in. The time on the ticket that says when you're supposed to land is the time zone that you will be in, your destination. So when I landed, it was 4:30 in Sierra Leone. I was looking at other people and asking them, like, you know what time it is? They would tell me, because I didn't really know if my phone would be right. It said 4:30. I'm like, nah. On the ticket, it said I would land at 4:30 in the morning. It was a lot of miscommunication. So everybody had been up the whole night because they didn't want to fall asleep and miss me and have me waiting at the ferry station because I didn't have service. And as I then learned, the ferry station dude said that the Wi-Fi was for the office only. If no one had come in a while, I was going to start asking people like, do you have service? You think I could call my friend? Whatever. But it was all right. Sia came. Everything was cool. But when I got to the house, everybody was real tired because they had been up all fucking night. And they fell asleep. They fell asleep around 2. They're late coming to get me from the airport. And then they feel bad about it. I'm like, no, don't feel bad about it. Shit happens all the time. I knew when I left here, I was like, I have prepared the best that I could for this. But shit is still gonna go wrong. I have to know that, and so that when other people feel bad, I could be like, don't feel bad. Something was gonna go wrong, and this ain't even that big of a deal. And it wasn't. Getting to the ferry station on my own was enough. And I wasn't really even on my own, for being real. Her friend did a lot for me to get me to where I need to be. So anyway, get to the house. Everybody's excited, but everybody's tired. So I went in there. I changed clothes, tried to calm down a little bit. They made me breakfast. Sia had to go to work. She thought I was coming in the day after that. And so she took off the wrong amount of days. It was fine. I went to work with her. I met people that she worked with. That was cool. It was nice meeting people. Because she had been talking about it this whole time, telling people, my friend's coming in town. I'm going to bring her by so she can meet people I work with. And, la, 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 la. So they were excited to see me and meet me. But then somebody wasn't there. Somebody was on vacation. So I was sitting at their desk. And it got quiet. And no one was talking to me. And I started to fall asleep at the desk. And Sia, she called Nancy. I forgot to mention who Nancy was. So Nancy is Moses' niece. So Moses is Sia's husband. Nancy is his niece. Their family, Moses' family, is like my family. My youngest sister is 6. She'll be 7 this year. And I'm 28. And so the age difference is huge. So the same thing happened with me as what happened with Moses. One of my siblings had a child at the same time as my youngest sister was born. So they're the same age. Her niece is the same age as her. The same thing happened with Moses. Nancy is Moses' niece, but they're the same age. We're all 28. Nancy came and got me, took me back to the house. When I tell you, I laid out. She made lunch for me. She cooked, and I ate. After that, I had to lay down and go to sleep because I was so tired. I think by the time I got up, Sia had come back from work. I heard her voice. I went outside of the room, and I was like, hey, what's up? So we hung out a little bit, talked, and she kind of gave me a rundown of everything that they wanted to do because she was off the next day. I don't think we did anything the first day, if I don't recall. I don't think we left and did anything. I might be wrong, but I think we just kicked it at the house. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So then the next day we get up, and I'm trying to go to the town. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get out and see what is Freetown all about. That's the city that I went to in Sierra Leone, was Freetown. I get dressed, get ready, all that stuff. Get into the city. Culture shock number 1. The driving, bro. This was on another level. And I was talking to Moses about this. Everybody that I've talked to knows how I feel about this at this point. I've never seen anything like this in my life. And I was like, I don't know if I would ever be able to drive here. I say that with London, with the driving on the other side of the road and the steering wheel being on the other side of the car and the rules of the road completely opposite. Nah, bruh. I don't feel comfortable doing that shit. The same thing in Freetown, how the driving was. My boy, it was no rules of the road existed. It was and Moses explained this to me too. So pretty much what he was saying was, most of the people that drive out here, they don't go to formal driving school. Like how in the United States, I got my permit at 14. So that's the youngest you could be, a freshman in high school. After that, you have a certain amount of time. You know, it varies from state to state, so don't do that. I know that different states is different. And so for me, I had my permit at 14. I had to get a certain amount of driving hours and with like an adult in the car with me, and then after about a year I was able to get my license. But we had to take a written test, we had to take a physical test, like driving. For me, I wear glasses, and so I think I had to take an eye test, if I'm not mistaken. I had to prove that I could see with my glasses, all of that. And then after, you got to get a new license every 10 years or something like that. And after you turn 21, you get a new license. It's very like organized and kind of strict in comparison to what I experienced over there. We have a very like particular way of doing it. And when I went over there to Freetown, bro, my guy, it was like everybody was just going. Everybody just go. You just go. And then people walk out in front of you. You just gotta step on the brakes. Everybody's going at the same time. There is no stopping at intersections. People will roll up to an intersection and like they might stop to see if they can fit in. If they know that they can fit in, or they're going. There's no stopping, none of that shit. Ain't no lanes. There's like, you know, they naturally create lanes, but when you look on the ground, there are no lanes. Roundabouts, motorcycles. Before I left, Sia asked me like, okay, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And I told her, and then she was like, okay, so we want to hire a KK. And a KK is like a little car. For us, the equivalent to that would be like a taxi. So if you think of a golf cart, but with 3 wheels. So 1 wheel in the front and 2 wheels in the back. The motor of a golf cart, or even it kind of also sounded like a go-kart. I hired a KK for the entire time that I was there, so that we could get around to the places that we wanted to, and we wouldn't have to try to catch one. But the first day, Sia took me to work with her. She thought I was coming in the day after, and so when she put the order in for the KK, it started the day after. So when I went to work with her, we had to catch one like a taxi. Wildest shit ever. It was like New York, but less crowded. I don't even know how to explain that. It's like taking a taxi in New York, but less organized and less crowded. To me, somebody that comes from a country where the laws of the road are very strict and you don't want to get caught by no police or nothing like that, you gonna follow the rules of the road. I was like, this is chaos. Like, to me, somebody who had grown up in the United States, born in the United States, and learned the rules of the roads in the United States, I would never feel comfortable driving here. Because people are just coming out in front of you. And it's just like a game. It's like one of those games where like you're driving and it's just like boom, and you have to be like, step on the brakes. It's like that. I was like, hell no. I was very glad to have ordered and paid for that KK for us, so that we wouldn't have to keep trying to catch one. So you get in the KK. There's enough room for 3 people. They're always going to try and get more fares. So say like you hop in a taxi in New York. They're going to ask you, okay, where are you going? And you say, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. They will take you from that point directly to that point. They're not going to keep pulling over to see if there are more people that they can pick up. The KK does that. So you get in, and if there's an extra space, if there's only 2 of y'all to get in, every time they see someone standing on the side of the road, they're going to ask them, are you trying to go to blah, blah, blah? All right, no. Are you trying to go to blah, blah, blah? All right, no. Are you going to try to go to blah, blah, blah? And so if you are not willing to pay more for them to take you directly to your space, they're going to keep stopping to ask if someone else is also coming so they can get more fares. Like an Uber. Think Uber. How you could order an Uber. You could ask specifically for a direct, like, pick me up, take me where I'm going. Or you could say, oh, yeah, here's one that I'm willing to sit with other people. But the KK is in person. So it's not like you ordered on an app like Uber. You just have to tell them, no, just take me to my destination. I'll pay more or whatever. So when me and Sia caught ours the first day, she had to tell him, don't worry about stopping because I'm already late as it is. That was culture shock number 1. And I almost never got over it. I got used to it by like the last day because I had been there for a few days. I kind of understood the system. But it was like, I was like, wow, this is a lot. This is a lot. And they're good at it because they grew up with it, they live with it, it's normalized to them. But for me, I'm used to, when I see someone pulling out in front of me, I'm used to like stepping on the brakes like, hey bitch, but they will keep going because they know they're not going to hit the person because they trust themselves and they trust the other person. But we don't trust each other like that in the United States because we have a different set of rules for the road. Another thing is the KK is open. So it's like a golf cart. There's a piece of it that comes to right here where your face is, but the rest of it is open. They have like two parts where it separates the front seat and the back seat, but it's open air. It was very dusty, and so it was hard for me to breathe sometimes. Sia would be talking to me, or Nancy would be talking to me, and I would need like a second because I would be like, I gotta get used to the air coming in like this. It's like having your window down, all the way down. Except this was like a complete open. There was no doors. You literally got in and you got out like that. So that was something I had to get used to. So the first day, we went to the city. We went to shop because I'm a shop, all right? I like souvenirs. I like getting stuff for my family and friends and stuff like that. And so we went to a bunch of different places where they had vendors. And early in this video, I said, this is a hustling ass country because everybody's selling something. And by the end of the trip, I had asked C, I was like, it seems like everybody is selling something. Either it's fruit, it's material, it's hair products, things like shoes. And we're talking like on the side of the road. We did that the first day. We did a lot of that the first day. Half of the first day was us spending time looking for stuff that I really wanted because we wanted to make sure that I'd be able to fit in my suitcase. I don't know if I'll go day by day because at this point I don't remember what I did every single day. I just know the things that I wanted to do and the things I ended up getting to do. So I did want to swing by the college that Sia and Moses went to. They met at this college and they ended up being together after that. And so since they met, they've been together. So I wanted to go see this college. And then I wanted to see the museum, the Sierra Leone Museum. I didn't get to see it. There's a tree in the middle of the city that the symbolism is for freedom. Sia was telling me that during slavery or before slavery started, when they were taking people from Sierra Leone, some of the enslaved people made their way back to Sierra Leone. They planted that tree for the purpose of this is to symbolize freedom. And so they planted the tree, and it's a big jumbo tree in the middle of the city. Like, it's like I keep bringing up New York. I don't know what that's about, but it's like Central Park. How you have this big ass park in the middle of the city, and then surrounding the park is like buildings and like residential area. This was very similar to that, where it was literally just a tree, and then there's a roundabout around the tree. Literally everywhere around the tree is like buildings. It's like just city. So I got to see it. I didn't get to get out and take pictures and stuff with it, but it's fine. I got to see it. I took a picture of it, and she told me more about it, so I was fine with that. We ended up going to the beach the last day. It was smoking hot that day. I had to tell Sia, I was like, yo, my body is not accustomed to this kind of heat. We need to find somewhere to like sit down or like be in the shade or something like that because I'm sweating bullets. And I was sweating. Like, this is crazy. It's akin to like Orange County in the summer. It was just hot. I was like, I can't do this. So we ended up find somewhere to sit, and we just hung out at the beach. We didn't actually go down to the beach because it was so hot. We hung out near the beach at like this place where you sit down and like rest or whatever. So there's this one market, huge building. It's like a warehouse. When you first go in there, it's kind of like, oh, look at all these people. Like I said, everybody's selling something. And so this was the place that they took me when I wanted to buy something as souvenirs, because they had everything: bracelets, blankets, purses, bags, fabric, flags, all the things, any kind of souvenir you could think of. There weren't any magnets in there, so I don't think I got a magnet from Sierra Leone, but there was like lots of things to choose from. It was crazy. It was so much. And so we ended up going there a lot. But on the last day, they were telling me there were two buildings. So there was like a building, a street, and then a building across the street that was off of the water. So the building that all the vendors were sitting in and stuff like that, that were selling stuff, that was a building that when they captured people, they would put them in that building. When they were getting ready to start shipping enslaved people to wherever they were going to send them, they would transfer them from the building where all the vendors are across the street to the building that's off of the shoreline. I wasn't able to go in there because Sia said that they had closed off the area, so I wasn't able to go. But I did learn about it, and I went into the building where they kept people, and then across the street, I got to see the outside of the building where they started to put people on boats. So that was interesting because I didn't learn that to the last day. And we had been in that building almost every day because then I would remember, oh, damn, I forgot to get something for somebody. Oh, damn, I forgot to get something for somebody. And so the last day to learn that I had spent a lot of time in the building where they kept people that shortly became enslaved people, it was pretty interesting. We also went into one of the government buildings. It's called The View. What people would go to see is The View because it gives you a really good view of Sierra Leone. So that was really nice. I also got to see Sia's parents. They owned the compound that we were staying in, but they also purchased a house up higher in the mountains. So I got to go see that. That was really beautiful. The views from that was really nice. But we were on Freetown, and Freetown's kind of like a peninsula, kind of. So it's covered on water by 3 sides. So no matter where you were in the city, you could probably see water. And all the places that we went, if you went high enough, you could see the water. I'm trying to think, did I do anything else? Oh, I got my hair braided. So this, I haven't mentioned that much at all. I got this done while I was there. I remember when I was younger, I used to get braids this small. And this is what I preferred. When they started doing them, they showed it to me, and I was really happy because these are the braids that I can work with. These are the braids that I can like do things with. Here, when I get my braids done, they're usually bigger, and that's not on purpose. I'll tell someone like, I want small braids, and they will make it bigger than what I want. At that point in time, if you sat there for like fucking, I don't know, however long you've been sitting there, I'm just gonna have you do my stuff, and I'm just gonna be all right with it. But with this was exactly what I wanted. And I got to pick out the hair. When they took me to the city where all the vendors were, one of the places that we went was a hair shop that Nancy goes to all the time. We went in. I saw one that I liked. And then I was like, no, I don't really like this. And I picked up something else. And this was what I picked up. And the ends are kind of like you can't really see it very well because this looks silver. This is more of like a blue grayish kind of color. And it's ombre. So you can see the top of it is black, and it leads into this color. I was very happy, and I bought 3 packs so that if I, like when I wanted to get my hair done again, and I wanted that color, I would have it. I'm so glad I did that too, because I did not spend that much money on much of anything. I'm going to do a part 3 to this story. Because I do want to get into, I talked a little bit about where I went, but I wanted to get more into the details of things I realized and things I noticed, like how much money I spent and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there so I can start another video. This is part 2. So please, if you haven't seen part 1, especially the beginning, you're not going to understand what I was talking about unless you go back and watch part 1. So go back and watch part 1, please. And this is part 2 to my trip to Sierra Leone. And I will be making a part 3, so please look out for that. And thank you for watching. Please follow me on Instagram, Leone Travels on Instagram, and please watch some of my other videos. I talk about other experiences that I've had traveling the world. I just want to get into more of that and just keep on talking about my experiences. Please check out part 3. Thanks.